I kept reading all the rest. Now the table's getting clear, and the truth is pretty near. Say play, say loud, let the old smoke blow out. One look, one sign, if it's real then cross the line. This is where we tell it like it is, tell it like it is, tell it like it is. This is where we tell it.
What is up, everybody? Welcome in. Thank you for tuning in to Truth Be Told. We got to talk about this flock camera issue, but I think it's bigger than people are trying to really scape it off as. It's more than just a camera issue, but it didn't start with flock. In fact, it goes a little bit further back than that, and that's what we're going to get into is the history of how we got here. Now, many of you remember that great eventful day way back in 2001. Y'all remember this date? It should mean something to you. There was an event that took place in 2001. Can anybody remind yourself of the 2001 event called 9/11? Now, what happened as a result of 9/11 was something called the Patriot Act. Yes, indeed, Sandy. The Patriot Act was inscribed into America's history once that happened. Now, the American Patriot Act has a couple of allowances in it, and that's what we're going to try and get into initially into this particular thing. And the thing about it is that if you don't get into that, then I don't know that you can really get a handle on the actual detriment of this particular flock issue. So with that being said, we're going to listen first to one of the issues by today's metric of what's going on. So we'll listen to the news first because the news is always right or something.
Turning now to the latest twist in the controversy over the surveillance company Flock. So nationwide, it has more than 120,000 cameras used by more than 6,000 law enforcement agencies. But there have been claims these license plate readers have been misused by some officers, including for stalking. Flock CEO Garrett Langley just announced new safety measures. He sat down with Anna Schechter for his first network TV interview about the changes.
Your license plate is registered as stolen license plates in our system.
Are you serious?
Dozens of drivers nationwide say they're being unfairly pulled over, some even at gunpoint.
Keep your hands above your head.
Due to alleged misuse of Flock Safety's license plate readers. And it's not just mistakes causing concern. This week, 3 Georgia police officers were added to a growing list of cops accused of misusing the camera technology to allegedly stalk citizens, including ex-wives and girlfriends.
I don't think that Flock created police abuse.
I mean, can you put yourself in those women's shoes?
No, it's horrible, and I apologize.
Did you take enough responsibility soon enough?
I think hindsight is a brutal tool. Of course, we could have done more earlier, and we listen, and we learn, and we'll continue to move forward.
In response, CEO Garrett Langley says he is rolling out new safety measures, including cutting data storage time from 30 days to 7. And in January, Flock will require all of its roughly 6,000 law enforcement agency clients to opt in to what's called audit assistance, which flags any potential police misuse.
Why didn't you make a requirement as soon as you created the technology?
We've
Good
evolved
question.
there. We've always said we want local control. I think it's up to our elected officials to decide how long is this data retained.
But who is actually...
No. Never leave that kind of power in the hands of elected officials. Never. No, that's bad. That's bad juju. Don't do that. That's stupid on your part, but I understand why you did it. And here's the real reason why you did it. It was fungible. Okay, you made some good money. Okay, you made good money selling it to the government, and yeah. Well, the company's young. In case people are wondering, I saw this comment, and I'm going to bring it up. The company is not old. Okay, the company only started 9 years ago. It's not like old. It's a 9-year-old company. So he's looked like he's probably in his mid to late 30s. But being in that particular region of age, then you He's young because it is a young company. He's not a grandpa at all. Garrett Langley. Okay, so let's look up his name. I think I already have it on here somewhere. I just got to find it. Garrett Langley is, let's see how old he be. Let me see if they'll let me know his age. There we go. 38. That's what I thought. Yeah, so he's 38. He started when he was 29 years old. That's not, you know. Well, see, y'all don't think he look the age he looked, but I can tell at the man. I look at the eyes. He's definitely in his late 30s.
Looking at this data and why, we put it to the test.
We entered the license plate of this CBS News vehicle into the website, Have I Been Flocked? It turns out we had. This plate was searched 4 times in a 2-week window by the Jackson County Sheriff's Department. We asked why, they didn't respond. We have no idea why. That car has been used for reporting trips for a small team of reporters. It's unsettling.
No. See, so now here's my problem. Here's my problem. I think journalists shouldn't have a problem being scanned that often. You are one of the major purveyors of information, and I think you ought to be able to be scanned at will. I'm sorry, you put yourself there. Yeah, that you should have a fight with that one. Don't fight that one. It doesn't seem like Flock has a definition. It doesn't look like that I'm looking for. I don't see a definition. It's not like a acronym for anything. So it's just Flock. I'm assuming it's to gather information because a flock gathers. And you keep this group information to transfer. So the flock moves. So I can see why they called it Flock. I can see it.
I'd be curious to see their response.
Since January, 50 cities have canceled contracts or stopped using Flock's cameras over privacy concerns.
Did you underestimate the level of abuse that you might learn about 9 years down the road when you founded this company?
I think I'm like many people that grew up in a safe neighborhood and assumed that our law enforcement friends were perfect.
Some people might say that sounds pretty naive.
It is naive.
Maybe I'm an optimist. It's why I started this company. Is because
Naivete.
I also believe that we can build a safer country. And that's probably naive as well.
It is.
And Anna Schechter joins us now. So Anna.
No, we don't need to hear from Anna. I heard from the person I wanted to hear from. Thank you, Anna. But no, thank you, Anna. So you see now that it's an abusive issue, okay? The problem is that people are now seeing Flock as a problem, okay? Well, they're seeing many things as a problem, including anything to do with surveillance. What I don't hear them talking about is the camera system that's on top of the traffic light that most every state has. That's not Flock either. That's just a natural thing. So when you flash through a red light, they can take a picture of your license plate and mail you a ticket. You know those, right? Are you familiar with those? You're familiar with those cameras? You've seen them before? I've installed a few, okay? I installed even cameras in parks. That was my job, to install cameras. I installed cameras, private surveillance cameras. I installed government surveillance cameras. I've installed them on government facilities, in parks, on buildings. I've installed a lot of cameras. A lot. So many cameras. The one thing that I will tell you about them is that a lot of the cameras that the government purchases are very, very, very high-end cameras, not cheap. You can indeed frame by frame break down a whole lot of information, and there's not a whole lot of blur. Okay, so like if you think you're going to zoom by a camera on a stoplight and think that the blur is going to stop, no, they can pick that up, you going 60 miles an hour. You're not getting away from that. You'll get caught. So just so you know, so this whole Flock idea came about for them to try and keep track of things happening within the town, crimes on the street. The problem is there was a ruling that was passed, okay, and to do with Flock, and it matters because we need to talk about it. When they passed a ruling, that's the word I'm looking for, a ruling. In 2024, a Norfolk, Virginia Circuit Court ruled that collecting location data from the city's 172 Flock cameras constitute a search under the Fourth Amendment and cannot be used as evidence in a criminal case when collected without a warrant. The ruling likened the location-based devices to tracking devices, which used by police was previously found unconstitutional without a warrant. Following this ruling, the company began to receive additional pushback from communities concerned about the legality of their operation. That October, Flock required Aerodome and manufacturers of drones in law enforcement and announced plans to introduce its own line of drones. Now, when you think about it this way, if you have a bunch of people that are in charge of purveying, covering, finding, looking at this information, and you have a twofold system where the police officers and the state might be involved in trying to acquire information, and then the company Flock holding that information, where is the middle ground? How long does Flock hold on to it? Or should they hand it over to the city or state for them to have a hold of it permanently and archived under your name? Personally, I think that Flock, once you sold the cameras to the government, should not be involved in any of the data collection or the data holding at all. At all. I think there should be one localized. Here's what the government can easily do with that. The government can easily say, you know what, we're going to hold Flock responsible for blah, 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 blah. I think Flock should just stick to making the cameras and having the whoever buy it, let them be liable. Pretty simple fix. But I understand why they won't do that, because it's an ongoing lucrative cash cow. We're all in to make money, okay? Let's not be naive. People make things to make money. So if I'm going to make money, I'm going to make sure I go to the highest possible leverage point for money. And if that means my product is kept in a contract for multiple years for multiple millions, I'm going to do it. So it's not really a concern for the population. This is money. So let's look back at what exactly brought us here. Okay, what brought us here was 9/11 and a certain passing of a bill by one Mr. Bush. Mr. Bush, the one that talks, he can make up words, you know. I discombobulated the discombobulator on the corner of the store. That George Bush. The Department of Justice first priority is to prevent future terrorists' attack. That's what they put it under. Since the passage following September 11th, 2001, the Patriot Act has played a key part, and often a leading role in a number of successful operations to protect innocent Americans from deadly plans of terrorists dedicated to destroying America and our way of life. Did it really help? No. But they made you think it. While the results have been important in the passing of the Patriot Act, Congress provided for only modest incremental changes in the law. Congress simply took existing legal principles and retrofitted them to preserve the lives and liberties of American people for the challenges posed by a global terrorist network. But you didn't need the Patriot Act. All you needed to do was your stinking job and deport people that ain't supposed to be here. It wasn't that difficult. If you have a criminal record, you're gone. If you're here and you're not supposed to be here, you're gone. If you're here practicing anything that has to do with the region that this terrorist you're gone. It's not difficult. You don't need to punish the American people for the sins of the retarded ones out there. That's just not fair. But that's exactly what they did, because fear, because terrorism. Because terrorism, man. Terrorism is bad, so we're going to have to do badder things. Number one, the Patriot Act allows for investigators to use the tools that were already available to investigate organized crime and drug traffic. Hold on, what? Let's be sensible, okay? Let's be sensible real quick. We're adults here, right? I think we are. Let's use some brain power, just a little brain power, a wee bit. Am I reading this correctly? The Patriot Act allows investigators to use the tools that were already available? So why do you need the Patriot Act? What? Sometimes I think I'm high. No, for real. I feel sometimes I think I'm high. I have to be high. I have to be. There's some, okay. I maybe at contact high. Ain't nobody around me smoking, no weed or not. But I got to be high. You're telling me the Patriot Act gives people the permission to do what they've always been doing? Y'all are retarded. Many of the tools the act provides to law enforcement to fight terrorism have been used for decades to fight organized crime and drug dealers, but have been reviewed and approved by the courts. As Senator who's that name? Anybody see that name? No, it'll make sense in a minute. It'll make sense in a minute. You see that name? Y'all see this name in there? Senator who? Let me make it a little bigger in case you can't see it. Y'all see that name? Senator Joe Biden. Explained during the floor debate about the act, the FBI could get a wiretap to investigate the mafia, but they could not get one to investigate terrorists. To put it bluntly, that was crazy. What's good for the mob should be good for the terrorists. Now, this was a senator. Remember who he became later on and when everything went ham with surveillance. When did everything really take all the way off with Big Brother and that stuff? Tell me when. Anybody remember when? It was soon after this. It was when a certain individual became president. 7 years later, a certain individual became president, and this individual, the senator, became VP. And about those 2 terms, absolutely everything to do with Big Brother exploded. You find that as a coinky-dink? Do you find a coinky-dinking? Anybody coinky-dinking? Mr. Barack Obama, the Black Jesus, Blickety Black Jesus came into power, and all of a sudden, kablam! Big time powers all over the place. Ain't that crazy? Ain't that wild? Okay. Now remember, Joe said it's necessary. Okay. Number 2. Let's see what number 2. In fact, let's read all the way through. Allows law enforcement to use surveillance against more crimes of terror. Allows federal agents to follow sophisticated terrorists trained to evade detection. Allows law enforcement to conduct investigations without tipping off terrorists. You need the Patriot Act for this, by the way. Allows federal agents to ask a court for an order to obtain business records in national security terrorism cases. Remember, this has all been in the record with them. Okay, they need the act though. The Patriot Act facilitated information share. This is where we're going to get into the crux. Information sharing and cooperation among government agencies so that they can better connect the dots. The act removed major legal barriers that prevented the law enforcement, intelligence, and national defense communities from talking and coordinating their work to protect the American people and our national security. You see where this is going? You understand this? Okay. Hopefully we're seeing where the Patriot Act is going. The Patriot Act updated the law to reflect new technologies and new threats. So what do? Introduce new technologies. Okay. The Patriot Act increased the penalties for those who commit terrorist acts. Let's go up here and watch this one. Allows law enforcement officials to obtain a search warrant anywhere a terrorist-related activity occurred. Allows victims of computer hacking to request law enforcement assistance in monitoring the trespassers on their computers. Yeah. Ain't that wild? Yeah, we just invite them in. We did this on purpose too, by the way, on purpose. Let's go to number 4. Oh, sorry, the end of 3. Prohibits the harboring of terrorism, enhance the inadequate maximum penalties for various crimes like committed by terrorists, enhance the number of conspiracy penalties, and that has never ever been put into place, punishes terrorist attacks in mass transit systems, punishes bioterrorists, eliminates the statutes of limitations for certain terrorism crimes, and lengthen them for other terrorist crimes. The part that many are not seeing is this. The conspiracy, including arson, killing federal facilities, attacking communication systems, material support to terrorists, sabotage nuclear facilities, interference with the flight crew members. Under previous law, many terrorism statutes did not significantly prohibit engaging in conspiracies to commit the underlying offenses. In such cases, the government could only bring prosecutions under the general federal conspiracy provision, which carries a maximum penalty of only 5 years in prison. The key part to the whole thing is this right here. You want to know how we got to where we got to? It's right here. Made sure they tuck it in as not a big header, but it became the number 1 focal point of the Patriot Act. This right here. We don't want them attacking everyday citizens. So this went from allowing them into your computer to monitor to it being a naturally built-in thing into every computer after 2008 and 9. Every single computer via Microsoft, Yahoo, whatever you want to call it, even Apple, had the one thing that everybody feared most was this tracking idea built into your computer. Everything, and now we started to get comfortable with the computer being monitored. Tech support can now control your computer via a remote client, and everybody was happy because now I don't have to do it. But what they didn't realize is that they gave up their privacy for what they considered a fix, ease, comfort. And now we're in a location where we're complaining about the effects of giving up your rights. Now it's intrusive. Well, hold on. It has always been intrusive. You just don't see it as right all of a sudden because it's not the kind of intrusive you're allowing. Case in point, how many of you, including myself, use the cloud for backups? And how long have you used cloud services for backups? When Dropbox first showed up, how many of you went and got an account? When Microsoft One showed up, how many of you got an account? How many of you save things to the cloud all the time? Yahoo had one. Just about every platform had some sort of a cloud saving device. Google Photos. How many of you use Google Photos? Just a simple question. Do you use Google Photos? When you have a phone filled with photos, it uploads to Google Photos. That's a monitored. How about Google Drive? It's efficient, right? Your phone's full of memory, so you just back it up. The problem is that, Renzi, what you don't see is that you already have a computer and a phone, right? That information's already been seen. You already gave permission for them to see it. It's in the contracts you sign with your phone and mobile carriers. Every aspect of your life is seen. You got a smart TV? Do you have a smart TV? Let me put you on some game. Do you got a smart TV? Any of you got a smart TV? Did you know that some of these TVs come with cameras? Did you know too that some of them came with, because they connect to the internet now? You know that, right? They get updates. You've seen your TV say it needs an update, a software update, because it already links to the internet, because it's being monitored. It's being monitored. It checks to see what you watch, how often you watch it, to see what programs you need to bring on, not bring on. It monitors everything. Your phone listens to you. You give the microphone permission, you give the camera permission, it listens to you. There are cameras everywhere, all as a result of safety. Flock cameras are not the problem. The laws that made it okay to have flock cameras is the problem. Here's where I think cameras should be limited to. You ready for me? Let me tell you. Civilian use only. And I mean that. You have a business, you're allowed to have a camera in your place of business and on the outside of your building to monitor the outside for security, the inside for security. If every building had it, then you'd have to go to that person for permission to get information about the surroundings. So a crime takes place, check with the buildings like they do now. That's the only place that should have these cameras. No one else. But we gave people this when we allowed them to use our fear as though it was fuel for surveillance. We got ourselves to blame for this. You can't blame Flock. You can't blame any camera company. You can't blame Haranka. You can't blame none of them. None. The only people to blame for this is the American population. Put you on some more tips, okay? If you want to discuss something sensitive, your bank information, you don't want to say, people we bank on our phone all the time, and we may not be big enough to have anything hacked to be stolen, but you don't have to be big for you to be the target of somebody using you for them doing something bigger, okay? You could be an easy scapegoat. If you want to discuss something crazy, like, you're going to purchase a house, or you're going to purchase a car, or you're going to need your money to do something, or you just want to talk to your wife or your husband about something. A good rule of thumb is, they say, is to turn off your phone, but that doesn't fix anything. It still picks up stuff, just so you know. The other good option is to put it in a safe, something akin to a Faraday cage. If you don't know what a Faraday cage is, then maybe we'll take a gander at the meeting so I can tell you what it is. Okay? A Faraday cage or bag, okay, is a shield. So it basically houses your electronic device where neither signal can get out or get in. It's like an EMP without shutting stuff down, okay? So I'll explain it to you. Faraday cage is a shielded enclosure that's used to block electromagnetic fields. It is usually comes in either a little sliver, like how you keep your phone in a little carrier pouch, they come like that, and it's all gilded so it cannot let out or let in. Microsoft does this all the time with all their information. Okay, when I worked at their facility, there are certain locations in Microsoft there is no data. Everything is truncated, everything is hardline. There is zero transference without cable attachment. Zero. You can go in there with your phone and instantly zoop down to nothing. No signal, nada, diddly squat. It is a dead zone. Dead zone. That's what you need. If you're in a place where even if you're slightly paranoid, you don't need to be, but if you are, then get yourself overnight, get yourself something that you can put your phone in when you get home from work, to shut down the public from knowing where you are and what you're doing. But you cannot blame Flock for this. The abuse of Flock is by people with ill intentions. The availability of Flock was also crafted by people with ill intentions. Both of them are using your fear. They're using your fear, plain and simple. I always have Bluetooth disabled too. It doesn't make a difference. No, they can turn your Bluetooth on. How many of you have had that happen? Let me ask you a question. You've seen glitches, right? They call them phone glitches. You ever seen sometime your phone will go in and out of being on Wi-Fi? Ever had that happen? That's not accidental. How else do you think your phone's going to be getting updates? Okay, Facebook has admitted to doing this already, right? Monitoring your phone. And no matter how many settings you change in your phone for ads and all that stuff, they still somehow, when you say, I'm going to go shop for a car and your phone's nowhere near you, they'll have an ad pop up for buying cars. Am I wrong or not? Or you'll go search online for something to buy a car. And then you go on to Facebook and you see an ad for how you can buy a car. That's what happens. They monitor everything you do. A Faraday cage would indeed solve most of that. I'm looking right now to see if they tell me that I might need to buy a car. Oh, these people. They will check through your emails if it's on your phone. They'll check through your text messages. They check through everything. Your files, folders. Flock isn't the problem. We have to undo the ability of the government to be able to do what they're doing. Then the manufacture of these abilities won't happen because they're not allowed to have it in the possession that would put you in a deficit. They won't have it. You want to build your own Faraday cage? Pretty doable. Okay, let me DIY it for you here real quick. Let me get you a nice building Faraday cage tutorial real quick for you. All right. Oh, here's a nice easy. All right, here we go. I want y'all to watch this video and y'all can tell me if it's something that you want to do. I think it'd be helpful to at least look into it so you don't have the problem that you think you might be having. I'm not asking to be fearful, just plan.
An EMP goes off over the eastern seaboard. Maybe it's a coronal mass ejection on the west coast. How do you protect your radios, your cell phones, your laptops so that you can use them after the collapse? What you need is a Faraday cage or a Faraday bag, and there are a few ways to accomplish this: the DIY way and the off-the-shelf way. Now, before all of the aspiring physics professors go into the comments telling you all what an EMP can and can't do, let me tell you the hard truth. In most cases, we don't know. It depends. The best thing—
It's more than just for EMP. That's the fear tactic side of it. It is also for security. Like I told you, you'd go into Microsoft and sometimes they'll have you turn your phone in. In other places, you don't have to turn your phone in because when you're entering, you can't use your phone anyway. So they don't worry about it. However, if you're cleared for security, they don't worry about it then because they have your name on file. But if you're going into that location without security, they usually take your phone so you can't take pictures of the location. But Signal, you got none.
we have to go on, not fictional books, not Hollywood movies. It's this: the report from the commission to assess the threat to the United States from an EMP attack. There are way too many variables to speak in absolutes when it comes to what an EMP can and can't do. It depends on how powerful. Build their own. It's usually one of two ways: using a stainless steel trash can or an ammo can such as this. You line the interior with cardboard, seal it entirely, and then you close it up. And if it's a trash can, then you're going to line the seal of that trash can with this sort of HVAC duct tape. That way it's completely sealed and shielded from an EMP. There are a couple more steps that you have to take if you want to use an ammo can. The ammo cans are lined with this rubber-like O-ring. That needs to come out. Then you need to sand off all of the paint around the top rim with a Dremel tool or sandpaper. You need to do the same inside the groove, roll up real tight, aluminum foil, line the inside of that and seal it tight so you've got a direct connection. Some people will then tell you that you need to ground it. I don't think you do. Now, if you don't want to go through that whole process for a few electronic devices, there is a much easier way, and that's purchasing some low-cost Faraday bags. These bags are lined with signal-blocking Faraday fabric. It's not fabric in the conventional sense. It's a unique kind of fabric built specifically for this. You get a variety of sizes, the small ones for key fobs, cell phone, radios maybe, tablet, and an entire laptop or a pile of radios, cell phones, and so forth. Just like with—
Now you know what to do, okay? Now you know what to do. It's actually easy. They have a lot of the Army surplus stores will have them. If you look into places that do the what you call it, doomsday prepper type sites, they'll have it. It's pretty easy. Build it, keep it there overnight. If you have a regular set alarm somewhere, or you got a body clock like I do, you're good. But this is not just about Flock. This is about us giving up our privacy for so-called avoiding fear. And they passed the Patriot Act in order to surveil American people for things that foreigners do. And we allowed it. We allowed it. We said, let's go ahead and give that up for the sake of an attack that the government was supposed to intervene on, not regular people. If the government had done their due diligence, this wouldn't have happened. I mean, I think I know something else about 9/11, but that's just a thought. So don't let them hype you up, make you fearful and all that. It's nonsensical, because it's easy as fixing and erasing the Patriot Act and giving law enforcement the rights to do what they still need to do without having to surveil Americans to do it. It isn't that difficult. I think Snowden got a bad rap. I think he did divulge good information. The problem I have with him is the how. The problem I will always have with these whistleblowers is the how they release information. I have no problem with you releasing information. None. But you can do it legally. You can definitely do it legally. You can find some way to have yourself have immunity to go to the right channel, but they don't do that because their knowledge makes them fearful of everything. So they don't trust anyone at all. And when they don't trust anyone, then you become so fearful that when the information you want to divulge becomes an illegal method, we still don't know. We still have half the information you could have dumped. They just need to think more about what they're doing. That's all. That's all it really comes down to. Of course, he didn't have the benefit of certain things back then and how to deliver it. He didn't have the internet as robust as we do now. So that might have been a deficit to him. And there was only, one way to do it. So I don't know. I think I did, Hope. I think I did. I got a few this morning. And, but I don't know that I have. If I don't want to say your name, but if it's LW, then I got it. If you are LW, I got it. Just let me know if you're LW. I won't say your name. If that's you, LW, I got it. Just let me know if that's you. And I'm speaking specifically here to believe in hope. Okay, but I did get, I got a few. Okay, cool. Yep, no Cash App. Don't do the Cash App one. The email, check email. No, it's not an email. No, it's about this morning. The Venmo thing is from this morning. Straight up. What do you mean? Is that an email? What is that email? What is that an email? I don't know what you're asking, 2%. Anyhow, I wanted to cover this. I'll be back on, might be tomorrow. I might be back tomorrow, either tomorrow or Friday. I'll be back on here. So look for that. Put on your notifications as much as you can. Now I got to go take a kid to work and then come back and be done for the day. Thank goodness. Long day. All right. I'm trying to remember if there's anything else. All right. No, nothing else. Either way, we'll see you later this week. All facts. Nothing but facts is what you get here. Straight up. Okay? Straight up, no chaser. Truth be told.
I kept reading all the rest. Now the table's getting clear, and the truth is pretty near. say it plain, say it loud. Let the old smoke blow out. One look, one sign. If it's real, then cross the line. This is where we tell it like it is. Tell it like it is. Tell it like it is.